Why is it so important for us to think about our digital well-being? Well, if we think about it, we know what is healthy for us to consume and what's not so healthy for us to consume. We know it's important to put certain foods into our bodies and to avoid other food types. We know that if we have too much junk and processed food and rubbish, we're going to feel pretty rubbish ourselves. We're going to feel sluggish. We're going to lack energy. We might lower our immune system. There are so many downsides to just consuming rubbish. But if we consume lots of healthy, good, wholesome products, we know that we're going to feel energized and uplifted, and our body's going to work better. So that's all well and good, and it's also well documented, and you have to be living under a rock to know what foods you should avoid and what foods you should be going for. But what about the digital content that we consume, that we take into our brains? And if you think about it, you are constantly consuming content, especially if you have a bad social media habit and you're always scrolling. There is lots of content going in there. And you've got to ask yourself the question, how much of that content is junk? Is there content in there that is leaving us feeling deflated, inadequate, that's lowering our self-esteem? Is there content that's leaving us confused? Is there content that maybe we think at the time is adding something to us, but afterwards leaves us feeling, with a poor taste in our mouth? Or there's content that's negative. If we flood our brains with negative content, we're not going to feel very positive, are we? And that's why it's really important to think about our digital well-being and what we're consuming and how much of it we're consuming. The odd piece of cake is fine, isn't it? If I have one piece of cake a week, I don't think I'm going to have horrific health consequences. But if I eat a whole cake every single day, there are going to be health consequences to that. And the same is true when you consume digital content. The odd negative post, fine. But if you're constantly consuming this negativity, then of course you're not going to feel great. It's going to really impact your mental health, potentially impact your sleep. It's going to obviously leave you feeling low, deflated, and not positive at all. And yet we rarely consider our digital well-being. The other thing to consider with our digital well-being is, are we consuming too much stuff? Are we filling our brains so much to the point that we are struggling to be creative because there's not that kind of freedom in there to come up with creative ideas? Or we're struggling to focus and pay attention because our brains are just so muddled and fuddled with all the content that we've thrown at them. Or we're struggling to sleep because, again, our brain is so busy processing everything that we're taking in through our screens, especially if you do so just before you go to bed. So there are so many well-documented physical health things that you can do. So let's think about our digital health. Let's think about whether we are consuming the right content to keep us healthy mentally, to allow us to sleep, to allow us to focus and pay attention, to allow our creativity to thrive. Have a think about that. Are you doing enough to manage your digital well-being? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments. Do you think you're doing enough to manage your digital well-being? Do you think about your digital well-being, or do you kind of mindlessly scroll and can just consume content without really thinking about it? Let me know in the comments. And if you would like to reduce the amount of content you consume, not stop. We all love a sneaky little scroll, but certainly reduce it down so there's less going on up there, then you might be interested in my Reduce Your Phone Use course. I will pop the details below. It's just a short course, a short video, a small ebook, but it will really help you understand why you might want to reduce your phone use and how to go about doing that. I'll pop the details in the description, and I will see you again soon. Take care.